What's up? This is Gilbert Arenas rocking with the 3-Point Conversion Radio. Y'all tune in. Holla at your boy.
You're doing well. Last time you guys faced Boston 3 weeks ago, just 86 points. What did they do so effectively against you guys defensively in that game?
Well, it was one of our first games without Gordon, if I remember correctly. I think the game before we had lost Gordon, so we were transitioning into the next phase of our season, and we got off to a good start. But their physicality overall was their length and physicality hurt us there in the second quarter. I think that's where we ultimately lost the game. Got off to a good start, good first quarter, got out, played the right way, got good stops. But ultimately, we just could not make enough shots in that game to get us going in the second quarter. So for us, we got to play faster. We got to get up and down the floor a little bit more. We were too static, too half court last time. For us to score against their half court defense, it's going to be tough all night. But if we can play with our flow concepts, our transition concepts, our spacing concepts, that's going to get us through tonight. So the ball's got to move. The ball's got to move. Body's got to move. Ultimately we've got to make shots, but we can't allow their length and physicality to stifle us in the half court.
Thank you.
We'll go to Rick and then Will.
Hey, JB, you've talked lately several times about what Cody Martin can do that maybe is a little different from what other options are. How would you describe the role that he has carved out for himself on this team?
Sets the tone for our defense, brings great energy and physicality to start games. That's the number one thing. As I told him last game, you set the tone for us on the defensive end. You set the tone for our physicality to start the games. And when Biz comes in the game with the second unit, he's got to do the same thing. That we always got to have one of those guys constantly keeping us with pressure out there on the floor, talking, communicating, and keeping that energy every single possession. And that's what Cody does. He does not give up one possession. He does not take one possession off. And we need that for him. He's got to exhaust himself every single night, exhaust himself in how he defends and how he brings his energy and his physicality and his toughness. That's what we need out of him. And that's why he's in that starting unit. He's got to bring that for the first group.
The way that, you talked a lot about how it's imperative in this situation that you guys are really good defensively. Since the scores in mass got hurt, is there anything particular you've learned about your team defensively about how to survive with this group?
Well, I think for us, Rick, it's been ball pressure. I think containing the ball and pressuring the ball has been our biggest strength right now. And we got to continue that. Obviously, we switch a ton. It's not a secret, but even in our switching concepts, we got to continue to be physical. And this is not a soft switching defense. It's an aggressive physical defense against our switches. So we got to continue that, Rick, more than anything. What stands out to me is the more physical and aggressive we are defensively, no matter what our coverage is, the better we are. And we might be small at times. We might have different lineups at times. But what gets us through this stretch of time is just our overall aggressive mentality. We got to be hitting people, touching people. We don't have bigs back at the rim. We're not sagging off people, filtering things we got to be up in the ball, pressuring the ball, and making sure they feel us. When we do that, sometimes it looks great, sometimes it doesn't, but that is our strength right now as a unit. So that's got to continue. But I do think we've gotten better during the stretch. It really has sustained us, even though we haven't been perfect in our defense. If we had lost our way defensively, we'd not be in this position today.
Did you anticipate being this much an extensive switching team as you've become this season?
I think this year, this is where we're at this year. We're committed to it, and we're going to live in this world. There's not another scheme for us right now. We'll mix in our zone. We'll mix up our switching. In general, we have found this is our most aggressive, simple defense. And I think that's another area that I'd say we've tried to simplify our defense over this period, Rick, is, we live in this world. We don't change our coverages a whole lot. This is what we're doing. Everybody knows it, and we're aggressive out of it. There's no miscommunication or misunderstanding of what we're trying to do defensively. We kept it simple and aggressive, and the switching allows us to do that. What happens, this summer and beyond, I don't speak to that. For right now, this is who we have to be, and we just got to be really aggressive out of it.
Thank you.
Will, go ahead.
JB, I know Houston was kind of the first team to really do the small ball thing en masse. How much of that kind of did you take from them, or what have you taken from others in order to have as much success as you've had playing with the small ball lineups with PJ at the 5?
Well, Houston and D'Antoni deserves a lot of credit in this area. I think he's been a big trendsetter, in the NBA, and it started. A lot of that was in Houston, where they did play a lot of small ball. Ryan Anderson at small, and it's really distorted spacing and distorted defenses, I should say, and it's really opened up the floor for teams. And we saw a little bit of this last year, Will. We played a little bit of small ball last year, not a ton, but we did play some. It gave us a sample size of what it could look like. I didn't anticipate it being this good, but I think early on in the season, I said, we're going to play PJ at the 5. It was going to be a pretty consistent thing. And, it's been better than I expected. And I think some things, I saw that in Houston. I knew what it did to defenses, having to prepare for them. I remember going through a series against Houston and San Antonio. And, it was Ryan Anderson at 5. It was Harden in the pick and roll. And they would just spread you out. And, sometimes Ryan Anderson would roll, sometimes he'd pop. But there was a lot of spacing, a lot of shooting on the floor, a lot of space to drive it. And we've taken a similar formula here. We have our own concepts, our own sets, our own identity conceptually. But for us, our strength is drive and kick, getting to the rim. And I think that's what small ball allows us to do, especially when PJ's playing the way he is right now. It can really distort defenses. So we got to stay with it. I think it puts a lot of pressure on teams if Miles and PJ are playing at this level, which I expect them to continue playing there.
How surprised are you that that's been your most efficient lineup offensively, and how sustainable is it long term?
Well, I think in today's league, it is sustainable. I think, multiple teams, we're not the only team that's having success with this. I think multiple teams are doing it. Basically, every team in the league has some form of small ball. We'll see it tonight in Boston. They're going to play small ball as well. They'll put Grant Williams at the 5 and put 4 smalls out there. We'll see that throughout the rest of the season. So it is sustainable. But I love the versatility of always going back to PJ at some 4 or bringing in a 5 if we need to. And that's why the combination of Biz off the bench defensively, I think, is a good balance for us right now. We start small, but we bring more defense and size off the bench. It allows us to give us more defensive presence out there, a bigger presence at the rim. So, I'm trying to get the best of both worlds right now, a little bit of offense, and then bring some defense off the bench as well.
All right, guys, we only have time for 2 more, so we'll go to Danny and then wrap up with Rod.
JB, Danny Thompson with the 3-point conversion. Friday night, you mentioned about the number of rotation being at 8. You said you wanted to get it to 9. Now that you've had a day to think about it and go through it, do you feel like you have your 9-man rotation at this current point, or are you still tinkering with maybe adding something else to the rotation or maybe making other changes?
I think we have our 8 in the rotation right now. And then I think the 9th or 10th could, it's going to come out of the form of Cody Zeller or Caleb Martin, depending on what the game calls for. Both guys will be, looked at tonight. It could be Zeller as the 9th. It could be Caleb Martin as the 9th. If we want to stay small, it may be Caleb. If we need some more size out there, and I feel like we need a boost out of Zeller, we can go to Zeller as well. So those could be our 9th or 10th guys tonight.
Rod?
Hey, JB, last time out against Cleveland, Devonte was 2 for 13 from 3-point range and 3 for 16 overall. Just what are you seeing from him with his shot right now, and just how much do you kind of need him, I guess, to get going a little bit to kind of help you out offensively? We can crack 100 points and stuff like that.
Well, as I told him, he's always a plus for us. It's like every night, just take a look at his box score and he helps us. When he's on the floor, good things happen. No matter what he shoots, no matter his numbers, every single night, Devonte Graham is a positive on the floor. That's the first thing. Second thing, 10 assists, 0 turnovers. 10 assists, 0 turnovers. Keep doing what you do. You know, that's who he is. I thought he still played a great floor game. And the shot's going to come. As I told him last night, I said, keep shooting that thing. Those things are going to drop. We need him to continue to shoot the ball. I want him to shoot the ball more. And don't hesitate. Take the same 16 shots, the same 13 threes tonight. And if you got 2 more or 3 more in you, shoot those again. Play with great confidence, shoot the ball. I'm not worried about him. It's just a matter of that, you know, seeing that thing go through the net. He could come out tonight and go 10 for 13. So there's no hesitation here. You know, just continue to shoot the ball, shoot with great confidence.